Welcome to Elena's Barre Low Impact Full Body Workouts. On this channel you find different format workouts that will help you to tone up your muscles, improve your posture, gain overall strength, endurance, balance and flexibility. Check more classes on Elena's Barre Patreon. Join us for my crazy piano practice on Sundays. We also talk about controversial topics that can trigger you. You participate in our conversations voluntarily at your own risk. Read the disclaimer in the description box. If you don't want to be mentally or physically challenged, I suggest that you skip this video. Thank you so much for your understanding. Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Elena's Barre. I'm alone today. I'm going to do a review of one video that I've recently watched on Piers Morgan, Sky News Australia. It was an interesting debate with Pearl Davis, she's from the Red Pill, with Grace Blakely, she is a British socialist author, and Esty Williams. Esty Williams is a tradwife. I think that this particular debate is interesting because it shows you different perspectives and how women approach things. And the title of the video is being a traditional wife saving our society, or something like that. It's called Selfish Society. Tradwife says marriage must be protected at all costs. You can watch it. I'm going to actually play the whole thing here so that I can stop and analyze it from my perspective. Okay, let's present it. Cool. I hope you can see it, guys, and I'm going to zoom it. I'm going to play the full thing because this way you can get a better picture, but you can also watch it at your own time.
Model Emily Ratajkowski, one of my favourite dimwits, sparked controversy recently by claiming that getting divorced before 30 is chic.
So it seems that a lot of ladies are getting divorced before they turn 30. And as someone who got married at 26, has been separated for a little over a year, 32, I don't think there's anything better. If there is nothing better than being in your 30s, still being hot, maybe having a little bit of your own money, figuring out what you want to do with your life. For all of those people who are stressed or feeling stressed about that, about being divorced, like it's good. Congratulations.
It's like, congratulations. God, she's ridiculous. Well, divorce is certainly becoming more common, and marriage itself is becoming a fierce frontier in the raging culture wars. On the one side, there are feminists rejecting a dated concept. On the other, so-called tradwives who think it binds our societies together. Well, tradwives spend their days dutifully cooking and cleaning while their husbands go to work. Esty Williams, who's a 25-year-old tradwife, has amassed hundreds of thousands of followers by showing off her tradwife life online. She even gave up a job to be the perfect wife. So is she and others like her saving society, or are they selling out the sisterhood? Well, joining me now is traditional wife and influencer Esty Williams, and in the studio with socialist author Grace Blakely and YouTuber Pearl Davis. This might be the best lineup in the history of television for a debate of this nature. So I'm very excited. All right, Esty Williams, let's start with you as the trad wife. Sell it to me. Why do you think we should all go back to having trad wives in marriages?
Well, I believe that, I actually don't believe that everyone should be a traditional wife. I think that it is a choice. And I think it's a lovely choice if a woman wants to simply be a wife and a mother, and that's enough for her. And it's a simple way of living with traditional gender roles. It's balanced, and we don't have to do it all as women. I think we've proven that it's possible, but at what cost, right?
Right. And in terms of what being a trad wife involves, what do you think it means to be a trad wife?
Well, to adhere to traditional gender roles. So what I mean by that is the husband, he is the provider of the home. He goes out, he works, and he knows how to protect his family if need be. And the wife, she's the homemaker. She does the cooking, she does the cleaning, and she takes care of the home and children if there are any, and herself, of course. So it's adhering to traditional gender roles.
Okay, Grace, I'm sure you thoroughly agree with this, don't you?
Look, I mean, what Esther's just said about the fact that women should be able to choose, obviously, I completely agree. And, you know, men should be able to choose as well. I think the feminist critique of traditional gender roles and gender ideology isn't that some people like to stay at home and others don't. It's that you shouldn't be bound to pursue a certain life.
And here I'd like to stop it, because you notice what she's doing here, right? You can't force me to do what I don't want to do. And she tries to appeal to everyone here, men included, which kind of sounds good to men as well, but which also signals that if society holds men to higher standards and men have the burden of performance, women, on the other hand, no, we shouldn't be held accountable. We can do whatever the hell we want to do. We should have this freedom of choice that feminism promises to women. Okay, let's proceed here.
Based on the sex that you were born into at birth. The one issue I do have is, I know actually a friend of mine whose sister got involved in the tradwife movement in the US, basically. She was quite young. She got married to someone who was like, this is what we're doing. You're going to be a tradwife. And basically came to regret it. She felt like she'd been controlled, like her life became very small and she couldn't get out. She couldn't.
Well, the problem is that women today are not being taught how to be traditional wives by their mothers. So even if the idea of being a traditional wife sounds appealing to women because the nature demands it to some degree, right? Women are supposed to have children biologically. You can't really argue with that. So what I see, feminism is saying that women, you have a freedom of choice. You can do whatever you want to do. You can pursue your career. You can be Miss Independence. But then biology demands that women get married and women rely on a man. But because women are not being taught how to rely on a man by their parents, by their grandparents, they don't know. And then this young girl, she was never taught the basic skills that were necessary for her to survive the marriage. Let's continue.
Escape, because, you know, she'd lost all her friends and this has become basically her entire life.
So what she says here, she sacrificed her previous lifestyle, her interests, her freedom for this man, and she wasn't ready for this life.
And it concerns me that sometimes we see this narrative on social media that women have to be a certain way in order to get a husband.
In order to get the husband that they want, yes, because men, the high value men, they have requirements for women, just as much as women have requirements for men. Women don't want to date a man who lives at mom's basement, do they? No, not really. A man has to be the provider. A man has to be the hunter, right? He has to reach his goals and provide, take care of the family. So yeah, what she says that men man up, be better, but women just kind of are, and women have this freedom of choice.
So you have to be this like particular model of femininity for people to love you. And I think that's really sad, because I don't think anyone should have to shave off any parts of themselves.
Yeah, but then why do you require it from men? Why do you want men to be the providers, to be the guys who maintain the infrastructure? Why do you set high expectations for men then, if you don't want the same expectations to be placed on you? Not the same, different kinds, just for women. You get my point, right?
To be loved, or to you know, find a husband, or, you know, anything like that.
All right, Pearl, what do you think?
I think it's a good that we're seeing a return to traditionalism. Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
It's something that needs to happen to counterbalance the feminism, the promiscuity that is being promoted to women. I agree with Pearl.
How
I don't know.
How is the feminist movement of the last few decades, how has it gone for you? I mean, when you look at it and see how women have progressed, do you think it's been largely a force for good, or do you think, as the tradwives do, that perhaps we've lost that sense of gender rules, for want of a better phrase, which actually work very well?
Well,
for many people?
I mean, we've seen families disappear. You know, I saw a study the other day that said only 25% of, I mean, this is an American stat, but American households have families. So I guess there's positives and there's negatives, but it's like at what cost, you know?
What to you?
150 years ago, the average woman had 7 kids, 85% of people were married.
I mean,
You know,
there
and
was also
now-
much
and now-
higher infant mortality,
but the
and women
thing is-
died very young, and
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, women were more depressed than ever before. We're on antidepressants.
I mean, there are a lot of
women over the age of 45 are
And notice how Grace is interrupting Pearl, and she will do more of this thing throughout the whole video. Okay, let's keep watching.
the least happy demographic.
There are
So,
a lot of very
the issue
complex reasons for that.
well,
I think it's
and the
important
issue
to-
you have
See, she doesn't let Pearl finish her point. She's boom, 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 trying to interrupt, trying to interject there.
is women like Emily Ratajkowski. You know, marriage, again, I've said this before, marriage isn't marriage anymore. The average marriage is 7 years. We have things like no fault divorce, leave if you're unhappy. So
what
if
does that mean, marriage isn't marriage anymore? Because
Well,
there have been
marriage-
so many
marriage used
marriages
to
over the
be-
course of
mar-
history.
You asked a question. Let Pearl answer to your question. If you already know the answer, then why to bother asking the question? Grace.
Where people have been very unhappy, either the man or the woman has been very unhappy, and they've been forced basically to stay in a marriage. It could have been an abusive marriage, it could have been an emotionally abusive
because
marriage,
marriage was
and that
about,
would,
it
you
was
know, we
about,
have one life. Why would you
Mar-
spend it with someone who
again,
doesn't make you happy?
marriage was about duty, and this is the problem we have with women. Like men tend to be better people than us. Yeah, they really do. They tend to.
I couldn't
No,
agree
no, no.
more.
They tend to do the right thing. They
Yeah.
What's your reaction? What's your reaction? She truly believes that women are these perfect little angels here who can do no wrong.
Much
Men-
maligned species. I
I
agree.
mean, there's a reason we have phrases like a man of his word, right?
Yeah.
And a woman of her word.
I
Because
just,
men will actually stick things out. Women, when shit gets hard, we just leave. And you're proof.
The moment it gets uncomfortable, the moment somebody challenges women or something goes wrong, yes, usually women try to avoid any accountability and responsibility. They go and do something that's flexible and easy. I agree with Pearl.
You're
I
proving
think-
my point.
I
What was,
think
your, 'cause
there's
what was your first answer? My happiness, right?
of
Yes.
course,
Like,
everyone
and the thing
deserves
is,
to be happy.
the
Everyone deserves to be happy, guys. Watch this. Watch this. The feminist bullshit again.
Everyone
the
deserves to be loved.
A family doesn't work when it's about you. It's supposed to be about your kids.
Well,
And that's
right.
that's
It's
the
supposed to be
problem in
about
modern
everyone.
Women, when they enter their relationship with the man and they want a man to take care of the woman and provide for the family, comply with his male duties, women have to do some sacrifices in the feminist mind. Traditionally, and I think Esti will get to that point, that it's not actually a sacrifice if you consider how much work men have to do for the woman. Now, in her mind, it's a sacrifice. I cannot sacrifice my interests, but a man is supposed to sacrifice his goals, his purpose. He can't do what he wants to do with his life. He has to serve me.
No,
There's
no,
a
no,
balance
no.
and a compromise.
Oh,
in
yes, the balance and compromise now. Okay, let's keep going here.
Do you
relationships.
think
Am
you're
I allowed
more-
to
do you-
talk now? Or
Okay,
am I allowed
go
to
ahead, go
respond?
ahead.
Look, I think relationships are about balance. They're about compromise. They're about knowing and understanding yourself.
Compromise as long as a man fulfills your every single whim. Lady, this is not a compromise. This is the ultimatum.
Learning to, know and understand another person. Eventually, potentially, if you want to, bringing children into the world and teaching them how to do that as well. Teaching them to balance a sense of their own identity with the love that they have for another person. And, for example, I know an older woman, actually, is a friend of our family, who got divorced at about 60. She had, this lovely family. They were together since they were 18. And she said, I got to a point after I'd stopped being a mother and, I was just kind of getting on, I realized I'd lost my sense of who I was. And I didn't really feel like I knew.
Okay, I have a question for women, really. Historically, do you think women had time for this bullshit? My sense of worth, my sense of being, I lost myself. Oh my goodness.
Who I was anymore, because I'd always just been a wife and a mother, and I wanted to go out and explore that. And I think that's fantastic. Good for her.
What is traditionalism?
That's a good
I don't
question.
know what you think traditionalism is.
I would say a modern mentality is me before the family. I would
Yes.
say traditionalism is the family before me, especially in women.
You're onto
And
something.
so what it's interesting you said 60-year-olds, because I've interviewed 600, 700 people roughly in the past year and a half. I've done hundreds of shows interviewing people about relationships. And what I find is the 60-year-olds a lot of those women led their daughters astray. There's a reason we're in this mess, right? A lot of those women had the wrong mentality when it came to marriage and had exactly the mentality that you're talking about.
Which is to prioritize balancing one's own sense of identity with compromise in a relationship with someone else.
Myself before the marriage.
But that's, again,
and it's really unfortunate because I would say
actually.
the women of our generation really are suffering because of the advice of the women of the past.
There's an interesting point here.
I agree with Pearl, because if you look at what older women are teaching younger women now, it's not how to be married. It's not how to be a wife. It's not how to fulfill your wifely duties. How many women today don't know how to cook? And they are proud of the fact that they don't know how to cook. They don't clean after themselves. None of these duties are being passed on from older generations to younger generations. This is why we have the cluster B society today. This is why women today are not capable to stay married. All they want is just a wedding party. They want to show their wedding dress to their girlfriends on social media.
Right, which is that we do live in a very individualistic society, and we're all
here I agree with her. It's very much individualistic.
All told. Actually, I think a lot of the time in our relationships as well, you have to be a certain way if you want to receive love. You have to abide by these norms. Yeah. You have to be a certain level of attractiveness. You have to earn a certain amount of money.
You have to earn good attitude and nice things. This is what I keep saying to you ladies. If you want people to love you, to take care for you, what do you offer in exchange? Because look, we demand services from men. We demand that men comply with their masculine duties, right? Women are supposed to comply with their feminine duties. I don't see any problem with this because it's the exchange of values.
It's all about you. And that's not what love is.
All right.
Love is
Okay, what is love then? Well, we already kind of know what your love is. It's mostly self-love. You love yourself, and she kind of pointed it out before that it's me, 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 me.
All right, listen, it's actually been very interesting listening to this. Let me bring it back in Esty. So Esty, in terms of trad values, like my wife puts the bins out, for example, right? I've never asked her to. She's just adopted that role in our house. So I never put the bins out. I don't know if I should feel ashamed of myself. I do other stuff, but I don't put the bins out. As a trad wife, do you put your bins out? Is that part of the gender rule of the 50s? Is that what used to happen? Or is the man supposed to do that? I mean, how do these rules work in reality?
To be honest, it has nothing. I don't want to say nothing. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the 50s and the 60s, especially in our household. I enjoy the aesthetic, and I think that's where people get a little mixed up with my channel. But to answer your question, actually, I don't put the trash bins out. My husband does that, but I think we have this this thing in our household where he does most of the outdoor work. I do all the indoor work. Of course, he works and provides, and I'm the homemaker.
Sounds very familiar. I don't take our trash bins out. My husband kind of takes care of the outside, and I'm trying to take care of the inside. Of course, when something breaks in the house, then he's fixing it. But other than that, cleaning, everything else in the house, I'm doing it.
Maker. That's what works for us. But
in relation to what Pearl said, is part of that a sense of being dutiful and having no problem actually with being dutiful in a marriage?
Yes, I believe that traditionalism it is putting your family before yourself, and I think it is having those traditional values that were once definitely more in place in God, family, and love, and we live in a very selfish
Mhm.
society now. You know, you see self-love printed everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And women, speaking of divorce and marriage, women are leaving marriage far more easier than men, and they are doing it because they think there's something better out there for them, that the grass is greener on the other side, and they're finding out that is wrong, and they're going through divorce after divorce. And you know, marriage is a bond, and it's a sacred bond where two become one under God, and that's beautiful, and you have to protect that at all costs. And I think part of that is putting your partner's needs before your own every single day. And I try and do my best, and I think of my husband as much as I can and what will please him and make him happy.
See, I actually agree with her. I think she sincerely cares for marriage. I think that she cares for the interests of her husband. She is willing to sacrifice her own interests for her husband's interests. I don't like the word partner, but other than that, the idea of having a family and taking care of each other, I really, really like it. And yeah, okay, let's keep watching.
I love the sound of this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean,
I love the sound of it too, Piers Morgan. Let's see what Grace has to say here.
I mean, obviously, I don't. I wouldn't dare to express an
I
opinion.
think that's, you know, a lovely way to think about relationships if it's reciprocal.
Yeah.
If it's like always if the conditions the conditions have to be met.
We're talking about God and family and tradition.
This is the
Paul,
problem.
can I please
always
finish
keep
my
score.
sentence?
Like,
See here, guys, this is what I wanted you to pay attention to. How she points out to Pearl, no, you're not allowed to interrupt me. But did you notice earlier in the video, this is why I wanted to show you the full video so that you can see it, she interrupted Pearl so many times. Pearl couldn't finish her point before she got cut out by Grace.
life isn't about
I thought
keeping
women were
score.
supposed to, you know, recognize their place and learn not to speak
right. What about you? Why don't you recognize your place? Why don't you let other women finish their sentences?
for other people. No, so look, I think it's reciprocated. You talked there about religion and about Christianity and about self-love. You know, the kind of most important commandment. There's two most important commandments: love your neighbor as yourself. So that requires a foundation of self-love and respect for oneself and knowledge of one's own identity.
She's trying to kind of drag Esty to her and like, no, you still need to self-love and you still need to respect yourself. Oh my goodness, it's interesting to see how women watch other women getting out of the plantation and they try to drag them back into the sisterhood of Virales.
What one wants to be able to receive and give the love that you're going to have in a solid and healthy relationship. I think it has to be mutual.
You're not looking forward to it. Getting you all back in about 10 years' time to see if either of you two are married and have stayed married, and to see particularly, Esty, if you're still married and still happily married and still feel exactly the same way you do today about what marriage should be. That would be a really interesting
and
show in
also
about 10 years.
how happy we are in general with our lives and all the other.
Oh, here you go. Happiness above all. Yeah, guys, she is a total feminist here. Well, she's also a socialist author. Why are we surprised, right?
There's many rich aspects of our relationships and our careers and all of these things.
Yep.
Careers.
Great debate. Thank you very much, ladies. Nice.
Yeah, thank you very much, ladies. Very interesting debate here. I'm going to stop sharing just to sum up some of the observations, but I think I've pretty much covered it throughout this video. You've seen what is happening, right? I agree with the messages that the tradwives are trying to send out to women. I think these are solid, good messages. I think that we probably should balance what happens in our society with more traditional values. I don't see that these traditional values are bad per se, because we already expect men to behave in a somewhat traditional way, right? Why can't we expect women to behave that way? Especially if women demand a traditional man. Ladies, you need to be, at least try to be somewhat traditional. so that you know how to cook, how to clean, how to comply with the basic wifely duties. If you don't have the mother or the grandmother who can teach you that, at least listen to the women who are married, who have been married for a while, who can tell you what it's like, so that you can make the best choice for yourself. And yeah, be careful with the content creators who are selling you the feminist bullshit, such as self-love, be strong, powerful, independent, don't rely on men, all men are evil. I've seen so many relationship gurus are telling women, freeze your eggs and wait for the right man who will never show up. I already talked about the right man. It's a very subjective term, okay? Today he is right, tomorrow he is wrong, the moment he does something that you don't agree with. If you choose to spread your legs for this man, it must mean that he's the right man for you. There is no way around it, because you are accountable for the choices that you make in your life. Okay, I'm going to finish it up here, guys. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, and observations, let me know in the comments. If you'd like to see more videos like this, also let me know in the comments. I'll try to do more of this. They can be sometimes time-consuming, and I usually prefer to see more people interacting and having the exchange. But I'll do a couple of these ones too. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and join us for more interesting discussions with Elena's Barre community. I'll see you. Bye.